So I have a major milestone here in my home layout, and right now I've got this little CSX running down, kind of slow, but probably the right pace. Right now it is running on the yellow line, so my color codes are going to be based on N-track and how N-track runs standardizes their N-tracks. So as you've seen in previous videos, I've got two N-track lines, but right now I've got 7 different lines connected. So right now the locomotive's on the yellow line, but it's going to go through this double crossover to switch to the red line. And now that it goes on the red line, it's going to go through my N-track modules to the under the stairs section, which I don't have a name for yet, and comes back around on the red. Once it comes around on the red, it's going to come up here on a double crossover that's going to switch to the green. So in this video I'm showing you how I got 7 lines, and all 7 lines are connected, so I can run a locomotive from one to the other. So here's where it switches from red to green. That's the red-green crossover. Still have to put in some electrical switches in order to run them. This locomotive might need a little bit of cleaning, so it's going to run slow. So it's about as fast as I can get it to go at the moment. But here it is coming up the green line. I'm now on the green line. Again, these are based on N-track. So this is what I got done this weekend, was finishing this loop that it's running on here so that it can go back to the N-track layout. This portion of green line I still have to put feeders in for. I have not done the feeders for it yet. It's basically getting power from the N-track module from both sides essentially. And once it gets to here, I'm going to move. It has another double crossover that's going to switch over to the green branch. So that was the green line. Now we're going on to the green branch, which is in the N-track. All right. And these N-track ones are complete, other than having some. Obviously, I'm going to put in some sort of village or something in there, and then obviously I got to do the skyline, and I got to paint a skyline in there, and obviously I need some brush and trees as well. But right now, running on the N branch, and then it's going to come off the N branch back to the green branch, and it's going to go back to the green line and go through the tunnel and around. Now this section of the green, I still have some work to do on smoothing out some of the rail joiners on these curves. All the curves are 12-inch radiuses, but I found that in order to get the 12-inch radiuses and getting the track on there, had some pretty tight rail joiners that I kind of need to fix. So I'm going to come back around this way, and here it's going to come off the green and go back to the red. At this, in this back shelf layout, if you will, I have my rail yard and a staging yard too. I can load up all my trains in here, so I've got places where they'll pass and passing lanes. There's a red passing lane, a green passing lane, and a yellow passing lane, so that again, I can stage cars, or I can keep them on there while I'm waiting for another one to go. So you can see some of the other challenges I had. I'm walking around the beams in my home, the posts and beams for my rails, and we're running around the red. Now here is our double crossover that switches from red to the red branch. The red branch, you'll notice I have a passenger train sitting there, because of this red branch I'm going to put a passenger station here. So this is going to be kind of the passenger place where my passenger cars and passenger trains are going to be. And again, my 6 axle locos there's a couple of these really curvy curves that I've got to fix rail joiners for. The 4 axles seem to go through those without a problem. So now that we've gone through the red branch, we're going to go into the red line. Again, there are 7 different branches. Each of these branches are, I have a control station, and each branch has their own circuit breakers, and power them using the NCE power supply for that. The other thing I can do is down here, I have my cables so that I can make all of those branch lines are separate so that I can pull one off and just make one DCC. So they're all kind of, or DC, so they're kind of closed there. Now here's where the red switches to the yellow, and in this direction, the yellow is immediately going to switch to the blue. So now we're on the blue line of the end track, and the blue line is going to go around the end. Okay. Little bit of a note is where the train comes around from the blue line and the yellow line. Plan on redoing these curves a little bit, making them a little bit easier for the bigger trains to get, or the bigger axle trains to get through. But you know, here we go down the blue line. Again, the blue has a passing lane as well. And as we move down here, again, I don't have my feeders done for the blue, yellow, and green lines on the shelf layout yet, but I still have yet to do those. I also don't have my feeders for this, so you can see I'm using power pole connectors because that's the standard for N track, and you're going to see them kind of sitting around here. So now we're going from the blue line. The double crossover is going to move to the blue branch, and this locomotive doesn't like the gauge of one of the joiners here, so hopefully it passes through. It does not pass through. All my other locos don't have a problem there. This one seems to have a problem there. But here's my blue branch. Again, because it's on my N-track layout, these are completely wired, and just got to finish some landscaping. And we're coming around and switching back to the blue branch. And then here is the double crossover that switches from the blue to the yellow. And now we're going to go around. Again, you can see that I haven't completed the feeders for the yellow and the blue along here. The red, green, and the red are completed here with their feeders, but I'm not going to complete them because I think I'm going to take away the little straight sections and make it a little bit more curved. They'll give my blue line a little bit better turn into the shelf layout. So there are a few little things that I've got to do. I just got all this wired, so here we are coming down the yellow, going by the yellow passing lane, actually running in the yellow passing lane, and not on the straight section. So I was testing out another loco. Still have a lot of more testing to do because there are some little sections of the track that need a little bit more work still. And now the yellow is going to come over here, and the yellow is going to cross over to the red. There's the yellow, the red crossover. Whoa, that was something different. Not sure what that was about. And now we're back on the red line. And like I said, the red feeders and green feeders are complete in the back here. I just need to finish the red feeders. The reason I'm waiting for the red feeders is I'm going to put a couple of sidings. I'm going to put 2 or 3 sidings with a program track or a program siding here. And then I've got this siding over here that I kind of need to do, and that's why I haven't done the yellow feeders here. But I have enough so that I can run the trains and test out how well they go through the curves. And, you know, like right now, I'm testing the 4 axle, going kind of slow up the ladder here. Again, this green branch isn't done yet either because same deal. I want to kind of run some trains on it for a little while, make sure I get all the curves and flexes, and then I'll get the feeders in place and we'll be ready to go. But pretty stoked. We got 7 lines running, and now once I get the little idiosyncrasies done, I'm going to try to test this out with multiple trains running at once. And like I said, I can not only do DCC, but I can run one of those branches as a DC line. So any of my old DC stuff, or someone wants to come over and visit, you can run some trains, whether you have DC or DCC. And hope you enjoyed the show here, and pretty psyched about this, so I had to get a video of this running. So there's where my layout is at this point.